From inside Ralph Engelstad Arena, it's time for North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol. I'm your host, Dan Hammer. On tonight's show, the coach reviews his team's split with Omaha. The two heavyweights in the NCHC went head-to-head, a highly entertaining series this past weekend in Omaha. North Dakota now enters a bye week and then sets its focus on the stretch run for the Penrose Cup. Dave, good to be back with you again after a double overtime weekend series in Omaha. An Omaha win on Friday night. You win on Saturday night, 4-3 in overtime. My goodness, this was intense hockey on both nights.
Yeah, we had a little bonus time for the fans each night, and for sure those the people that were there in person got their money's worth. It was a heck of a series. There was a ton of pace. It was a hard-nosed series with a lot of intensity.
Saturday night's win, very crucial for your hockey team when you consider the point swing that would have happened had there been a different outcome.
Yeah, there's no question. We couldn't afford to leave town without 3 points. It was a disappointing way to lose the hockey game on Friday after a real good up and down hockey game. But coming back Saturday, we knew that we needed to get the 3 points and some good play and a little bounce of the puck in overtime, and it came our way.
And the travel antics with Omaha. My goodness, 3 years in a row now. 2 years ago, you bust to Omaha. You got stranded in Sisseton, South Dakota for about a day and a half because of a blizzard. Last year, you bust, and your team was ravaged by the stomach flu on the way home. So this year, you're thinking, let's take a charter flight. Then what happened Saturday night?
Well, basically, the bottom line is after it's all said and done, the charter didn't work out well, so I guess next year it's the train. Here we come.
You were to charter back on a plane. That didn't happen because of a number of reasons, and you actually bussed back to Grand Forks.
Yeah, we ended up getting back on a bus. We spent a couple hours on the charter, just not in the air. So we ended up back on a bus at about, I think I looked at my watch, it was 3:29 a.m.
Oh, my.
We pulled away from the FBO at the airport and headed back to Grand Forks.
A long trip home, but with a very important win in hand on your return from Omaha.
Always makes those types of events in your travel day a little easier when you're coming off of a win.
All right, Dave, when we come back, we'll take a look at the highlights here on North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol.
North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sioux Shop at Ralph Engelstad Arena, the Greater Grand Forks Convention and Visitors Bureau, Indian Triumph of Fargo, and by Hot Spring Spas and Pool Tables too.
Welcome back, and this was a series that lived up to its billing. The top two teams in the NCHC, number 1 and number 5 in the country, number 2 and number 3 in the pairwise as we head in. And Dave, what a tremendous series. Let's take a look at the highlights here on Friday night. And Troy Stetcher returned to your lineup, his first game since December 5th.
Yeah, he brought great competitiveness back with him into the lineup, as he always does. Showed a little bit of rust in a couple situations, but overall it was a real good performance for him coming back into the lineup.
Yeah, you like this play overall?
I did. Overall, he did a good job. It's tough coming back in after being out with an injury for 8 weeks.
All right, the opening 5 minutes, I thought your team was very fast and very physical in Friday night.
Yeah, I thought, we started the game much the way we have started of late. We started well. We started with good possession, good pace, creating opportunities.
Transitioning well. Troy Stetcher, speaking of Stetch, hits the post here, the crossbar early in the hockey game. And then on the other end, Omaha had a push back early, and Zane McIntyre was tremendous through stretches the first period.
Yeah, we got caught after an icing. We got tired. They got a fresh line change. And they had a momentum-changing type of shift where Zane was real good in net.
Yeah, he was outstanding. Then you killed off 2 Omaha power plays in the first period. You had some good work by your defenseman blocking shots, and the end McIntyre backstopping.
Yeah, again, good goaltending is always the backstop of a good penalty kill. And we worked hard. We gave up a couple opportunities. But we made it through those penalty kills.
1-0 Omaha after 1. Early second period, Bryn Chiswick has a chance here, but that shot is blocked. And then just seconds later, after that opportunity, Omaha comes back to make it 2-0.
Yeah, it's a game of inches, and we had some opportunities to tie things up. And just on a little broken play, the Omaha player finds the puck, gets it on net, and it finds a hole through Zane.
You had 5 minutes and 45 seconds on the power play in the second period. are well aware of the pressuring style of the Omaha penalty kill. What did you think about your execution on the power play in this stretch of the game?
Early on in the hockey game, we weren't sharp, and that's one of the reasons we made a slight change after the second period. Brad went to a right-hander and a left-hander on the blue line on both units, and that really settled us in, and it gave us the opportunity to get going on the power play in the third.
Looks like Keaton Thompson opens the scoring for you here. I've never seen a puck cradle the goal line in parallel fashion all the way across the goal. It was reviewed and weighed off.
Yeah, and they got the right call. It was a real good slash play by Keaton on that play. Did everything right. Puck just didn't go in the net.
Yeah, but you're getting some chances here. Just a couple minutes later, here comes Bryn Chiswick and Luke Johnson.
Yeah, we felt like we took over the last part of the hockey game. Certainly Omaha was still generating and still playing well, but we had a lot of opportunities. Ryan Massa was definitely the difference during the second period.
Late second period then, Joel Mesner assessed a 5-minute major for boarding, so you had a minute of 45 power play to end the second, and then 3:15 of power play to carry over here to the third period. It sure seemed like in the third period here with your power play, because of the changes you talked about, you started owning the zone more and getting more pucks deeper.
Yeah, just being able to get initial possession, really helped us, and we really built momentum early in this power play and end up, getting one right as it expires.
Mark McMillan's going to get a chance inside here, and then as you said, at the end of the 5-minute power play, you're actually going to get on the board. It's coming up here, and walk us through this as at the end of the power play, you're still owning the zone, and Luke Johnson's going to get to carry him off the end wall.
Yeah, there's a 4 or 5 second delay after the penalty's actually over, where in essence you're still on the power play, because that player coming out of the box is not in the play yet. We just stayed with it. And Luke, Luke just got a puck to the net on that one, and it found a hole finally.
7 minutes and 15 seconds of power play over the first 15 minutes or so of the third period. Michael Parks with a good chance here in front.
Yeah, we kept the momentum going there. We drew another penalty as we scored that first goal, and we kept the momentum going on our power play. We just couldn't get the equalizer quite yet.
Then at the end of the power play, Drake Kajula is going to have a chance in front here. You could argue at times Friday night you didn't have a lot of puck luck.
Well, there were some posts, there were some great saves, and just some bounces of the puck. But that's as we say, that's hockey.
Yeah. Walk us through the play here at the end of the game. You have the power play and the extra attacker on Drake Kajula's game-tying goal.
Well, we went to the sixth guy, and everybody's doing the right thing. We had good outlets, as you saw there on the yellow. We got a puck to the net. 2 guys right in the spots that they should be, and win a puck battle and find the empty net.
Yeah, as we saw at the beginning of the play, you won a couple puck battles on the end wall to create opportunities.
Yeah,
there.
And that's getting guys in the right spots and guys knowing where the outlets are, and we did a real good job with that play.
48 seconds left in the game. You tied, then you nearly won it here just a few seconds later.
Yeah, we came real good, off a real good cycle play. Colton St. Clair grinding down low. Gets the wrap play to the net, and it almost finds the back of the net.
We go to overtime, and in the early stages of overtime, you had a lot of traffic and pucks in front of Ryan Massa again.
Yeah, we had good opportunities, as you see right here. You're going to see Troy Stetcher hit the crossbar one more time. Again, that's hockey. We were going well and playing well.
Penalties then. One to Colton St. Clair, then the second to Mark McMillan. Created a 5-on-3 opportunity for Omaha here, and they'll cash in with the game-winning goal.
Yeah, and I didn't like the embellishment that went into the 2 calls. Unfortunately, that's become part of our game. But the bottom line is we're down 5-on-3, and we did a real good job battling. It was a minute and 30 or so into that 5-on-3, and I think fatigue played a little bit of a role in where we were at. A minute and some into that 5-on-3 penalty, and they make one play and find the back of the net. It's a tough way to lose that hockey game.
No doubt about it. Austin Ortega with the game-winning goal. We spoke with several of your players following the game, including Troy Stetcher on his return.
Happy to get out there. Obviously, it'll be 8 weeks tomorrow, so it was a long stretch there being out of the lineup. Obviously pretty difficult, but you kind of take a step back and see how fortunate you are.
Losing in overtime, it's a tough result. That's a tough pill to swallow, but there's a lot of positives that we can take away from tonight's game and use it as building blocks.
It was a hard-fought game. Obviously, both teams play a similar style, but a few bounces here and there that go each other's way.
Dave, this game Friday and also Saturday night's game, another reminder of just the fine line between getting points in the NCHC and maybe not getting points.
Yeah, it's awful tough, on a night like Friday night where both teams, quite honestly, battled and played so well, played so hard. It comes down to the last few seconds of overtime. Yeah. It's hard to see, whether you're on the good side or the bad side of it, it's hard to see a team walk away with no points in that situation. But I can tell you this. It sure brings the focus to the next night for our hockey team and the critical nature of those next 3 points.
And it was a big-time bounce back by our hockey team in another game of high drama. We'll take a look at Saturday night's highlights next.
North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sioux Shop at Ralph Ingolstadt Arena, the Greater Grand Forks Convention and Visitors Bureau, Indian Triumph of Fargo, and by Hot Spring Spas and Pool Tables, too.
Welcome back to the show. Following Omaha's 3-2 overtime win on Friday, we go to Saturday night, another overtime game. And Dave, your team is wearing the black sweaters. They're called the Business Black, and going into a Saturday night game. And Saturday nights have been very good to your hockey team this season.
Well, they have been. It feels like there's been a lot of must-wins on those Saturday nights. Yep. On this particular night, there's no question that we felt that way going into the game. We didn't discuss it. We didn't need to, but we knew what was at stake.
Well, an early lead for your hockey team, 37 seconds in.
Yeah, good fast start. And this is just, really Mike and Mark just kind of skated by everybody on that play. It was a real speed play, and we could have made it 2-0 a couple seconds later with Drake Kajula alone at net front, but overall, a real good start.
Well, speaking of Drake Kajula's opportunity, just a few seconds later, here it comes. It was nearly a 2-0 game in the first minute of the game.
Yeah, this one is a little more of a broken play, but it's it's a real good play by Brenton Chiswick to come up with that loose puck by putting pressure on them, and as you can see there, Drake thinks it's in, and normally that would be, but it slid by the far post.
Well, he had Massa beating the 5-hole, but it just went outside the far post. 1-1 in the first now. Omaha generates 5 shots on the power play, but again, you're blocking some shots, and Zane McIntyre is making some saves.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious early on that their power play was going. This first power play, they were moving the puck around, getting pucks to the net, getting some pretty good looks. We wanted to limit their opportunities, for the rest of the night.
Did you like the way you played the body in this game?
Yeah, I thought every part of our game had real good focus and intensity to it. And again, it was two teams really going at it.
Physical play in the defensive zone leads to this Keaton Thompson chance. Then with under 5 minutes left to play in the first period, you're on the power play. And again, it's going to start with winning a couple pucks along the wall leading to a goal.
Yeah, and again, under pressure, with a PK that's going to come at you, you have to make some plays. And that's what we do here. We come up with possession. We find the outlet. Then we find the middle outlet. Real good, strong play by Luke Johnson. And what you end up with against that high pressure is a guy alone in front of the net for just a split second, and that's all it takes.
Mark McMillan right in front of the paint for his second of the game. 2-1 at that point. Second period now, and goaltending was certainly the story in the second period. You had 14 shots on goal in the second period and really created a lot of grade A opportunities.
We did. We were a little bit loose early in this period and gave up a couple outnumbered situations. But as the period wore on, we really took over this period and had a ton of great opportunities, especially in the last half of this period.
Yeah, Ryan Massa playing well in his net, but at the other end, Zane McIntyre also good in the second period. A couple of stops on Austin Ortega right in front here.
Yeah, no question. I thought both guys at both ends were playing well in the pipes and doing their job for their team.
So goaltending really the story of the second period. We move to the third period now, and by this time, as we move to the third period, Omaha has tied the game. What about your team's response in about the 3 minutes following Omaha's game-tying goal?
Well, the first shift back right after giving up the tying goal, it was kind of a tough bounce against us on the tying goal, but we came right back next shift, had 2 or 3 real good opportunities and pressed until we eventually built the lead back.
Yeah, I thought that the 3 or 4 minutes following the game-tying goal set the stage then eventually for Steph Patton's goal at 9:35.
It did, and on this, this is about the third or fourth opportunity that we had in the last 5 minutes off of an offensive zone faceoff. So, it was maybe a sign of things to come with Steph's goal here.
3-2 at the 9:15 mark of the third period. Later in the third, Omaha's on the power play, and Mark McMillan with a bid here for what would have been another shorthanded goal for your hockey team.
Yeah, this would have been the insurance marker.
Yeah.
You know, and again, real good play by Mark. Just a little better save by Ryan Massa.
And then just seconds later, the way this series went, teams exchanging plays, just seconds later, Omaha gets the equalizer.
Yeah, and like you said, it seems like that's the way this series was. It's a game of inches. Bryn Chiswick almost had that broken up, but it gets through him, gets up top to Cooper at the blue line, and he just puts it towards the net. And it's a puck that Zane has no chance to see from the point.
Tied. Then late in the game, how about the save by Zane McIntyre at the buzzer here?
Yeah, and this, this is a play that would have counted. There was enough time on the clock. A great save by Zane to put us into overtime.
So we go to overtime, and you're controlling play at the outset of overtime. Walk us through the play that will eventually lead to Brendan O'Donnell's game-winning goal.
Well, we had several good opportunities, and this shift here is really a continuation of the Gorder Line's evening. This is how they played all night. These are the types of plays that they generated, and just grinding it out. Loose puck, coming to the slot there, and Brendan made no mistake with that play.
O'Donnell whistles it in for the game-winning goal, and of course his numbers well documented. When Brendan O'Donnell scores, your team is now 19-0-1.
Yeah, that's a trend we hope we can continue with.
4-3 overtime thriller. North Dakota collecting 3 very important league points. After the game, we spoke with Mark McMillan, your captain Steph Patton, and Brendan O'Donnell on the overtime game winner.
Just a good face-off, and Gordy got in down low, just grinded, battled hard, and Pogues got in there too, and I think he tried to make a pass out and kind of, just puck kind of squirted out, and just grabbed it and tried to put it on goal, and luckily it went in.
Our goal tonight was just to play as hard as we could, empty the tank, and that's what we did. I think every guy in that room is exhausted right now, and that's what we needed. And the fact that we could pull through in overtime and get that winner was huge for our team.
I think we battled hard all night and deserved to win, and they kept finding a way to tie it up. But every time they did, we didn't get down. We got back out there and did what we need to do. So great win.
Dave, you mentioned the Connor Gorder line. It's been a theme here over the last month, or even a little bit better in terms of the energy and the ethic that they're bringing with their individual shifts.
Yeah, those guys, they've brought a real element to our team on a consistent basis. And it's not just time where they're in zone, grinding and wearing down the opposition. They're making plays. They're creating scoring chances. They're hard to play against. And, as we saw Saturday night, scoring big goals for our team.
Want to give us any insight on what you and Coach Blaze chatted about after this meat grinder of a series at the end on Saturday night?
Just a couple of quick congratulations, and not a lot of talk right after. The emotions are pretty high at that point in time, and it was a heck of a series, and an awful lot of respect for Dean and his team.
Well, North Dakota leaves Omaha just 1 point behind the Mavs, and the race for the Penrose Cup begins in earnest after North Dakota's bye week. We'll have more next year on North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol.
North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sioux Shop at Ralph Ingolstadt Arena, the Greater Grand Forks Convention and Visitors Bureau, Indian Triumph of Fargo, and by Hot Spring Spas and Pool Tables too.
Dave, a bye week, and then you get back to it with Denver the following weekend. What's your approach as you head into this next week and a half?
Other than the fact that we won't play games on Friday and Saturday, it'll have a pretty regular feel to it. And it's the time of year where guys like being at the rink. They're excited to be here and looking forward to to being around the rink and working.
Well, it's the stretch run.
Yeah,
you can feel it.
Yeah, this is what it's about. I mean, we've worked hard to work to be in a good position. Now, you look forward to that next game and preparing for that next game.
And that'll be Denver in a couple weeks, but between now and then, you still got some time to keep the focus for what will be the stretch run.
Yeah, no question. And our league is so tight right now. The battle for home ice, the battle for top spot, it's going to go down to the wire. So again, it's that next day type of mentality. We've got to take care of our business today. We got to prepare for that next game Friday night against University of Denver. And the rest takes care of itself.
That series coming up on February 13th and 14th next week here on North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol. We'll take you inside the new renovated area here inside of Ralph Ingolstadt Arena, of which this beautiful new locker room is. Katie Hale will take you on a guided tour. We'll also take you actually inside one of North Dakota's practices. Coach allowed us to put a wireless microphone on him recently, so we'll give you the sights and sounds of practice. That's coming up next week's show. Dave, thanks for your time. We'll check in with you next week here on the show. We're back with some final thoughts next.
North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sioux Shop at Ralph Ingalls Stat Arena, the Greater Grand Forks Convention and Visitors Bureau, Indian Triumph of Fargo, and by Hot Spring Spas and Pool Tables too.
North Dakota number 2 in the pairwise rankings this week. The pairwise mimicking the NCAA selection field of the 16 teams that go to the postseason. Minnesota State remains number 1, and the NCHC still very strong with Nebraska, Omaha, Minnesota, Duluth, Miami, and Denver all in the top 9 in the pairwise. And here's the updated NCHC standings following last weekend. North Dakota within a point of Omaha following Saturday's crucial win. And here's a look at UND's final 4 series of the regular season. Again, they're off this weekend, then back home to host Denver February 13th and 14th, then a road trip to Western Michigan, back home against St. Cloud State on the final weekend of February, and then it's on the road to Miami for the final weekend of the regular season. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week here on North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol.